Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rodimus Prime here. It is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. And hopefully the vibes are good and your mind is sharp. And today we're going to go ahead and be looking at the fifth episode of the Disney Plus show Kenobi. I'm going to be giving my review, I'm going to be giving a recap, as I am going to be talking about the storyline, the plot points, things that happened during this episode. There will be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. But please sit back, relax, and enjoy my review and recap of the fifth episode of Kenobi on Disney Plus. So first off, when reviewing the fifth episode of Kenobi, it is definitely more of your standard length, coming in exactly 41 minutes after recap and intro sequences. The episode immediately starts out with a flashback of Obi-Wan and Anakin sparring on Coruscant. They reference back to this sparring session at different points of the episode as a parallel to what is going on at the present time. I appreciate this because it showed the thought process of these two men in battle, and that not much has changed during their early sparring sessions, that both of these men still kind of have the same characteristics. Obi-Wan, kind, looking for people who are downtrodden, but very predictable. Anakin, brash, headstrong, not really thinking, also really predictable. It was like during most of this episode with the flashbacks being incorporated that was a live chess match basically being played out between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and the rest of the people were just the pieces on the chessboard basically playing it out. Another plot point that I appreciated them doing is that Reva became Grand Inquisitor during this episode, which shows how far her character really has come and how much she has actually achieved. Kenobi and Leia then land on Jabin and are greeted by the Resistance, which is basically families, farmers, and freight people, not exactly soldiers ready for a siege. Unfortunately, right after they land, a siege commences on the Resistance after Lola, Leia's robot, sabotages their only means of escape. Kenobi then has a face-to-face meeting with Reva, where he discovers her past as a youngling who was at the Jedi Temple during Order 66 and is seeking vengeance upon Anakin for murdering her friends. Reva in a rage then attacks Obi-Wan and the Resistance, and we see Tala fall, giving herself in sacrifice for the Resistance in an explosive send-off. Also notably during this whole attack sequence where Reva basically blasts open the door, did Obi-Wan roll like 1,000 on deflection? Because I swear during this entire thing, he probably deflects at least 75 to 100 blaster shots and is also cutting people down with his lightsaber, and at the same time while doing all this, saving his fallen crewmates. So I'm just wondering, what the heck did he do with his Jedi training? Just deflection training the entire time? After they retreat to their last area of safety, Obi-Wan admits it is over and gives himself up to the Empire. Reva then uses Obi-Wan to get Vader to come down to the planet to retrieve Obi-Wan. Leia then fixes Lola, and the blast doors sealing them in open, and they have a way to escape. Up next might be the greatest scene, and I'm not joking you, the greatest scene I have ever seen in the history of Star Wars, any movie, any iteration of any show. The scene is basically Darth Vader and what he does in this. I'm not going to spoil it, but go and watch it because it is absolutely phenomenal. I was sitting there cackling with laughter because I'm going, yes, this is what I'm talking about. They've never really showed Vader's true power, and in this episode, they kind of give you a real glimpse into what he can do, and I appreciated that. Vader realizes after this entire sequence that he's been duped, and he is watching Obi-Wan fly off in the distance, and all of a sudden, Reva attacks him from behind. The fight sequence between the two of them was very cool and showed how brutal Darth Vader could be, but I definitely wish it had lasted longer. Ultimately, Vader comes out on top and Reva is left to die. We then see the Grand Inquisitor, who she cut down in episode 2, seemingly reappear from the dead and retake his rightful place as Grand Inquisitor. As Reva is laying on the ground, she notices the glint of something and retrieves the message fob that Obi-Wan had been using to communicate with Bail Organa. She listens to the fob and learns of a boy and hears the name Owen. This is in reference to Luke and Owen back on Tatooine. We then pan to Luke sleeping on Tatooine and our episode cuts to black. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. It was fast-paced, had really good backstory about important characters, and advanced the story in a plausible direction that made sense. With that being said, I'm going to give Kenobi, episode 5, a 5 out of 5, simply just for the fact of that Darth Vader scene. But alright, that's going to do it for me. thank you so much for watching. As always, the opinions stated in this video are my own, so you don't gotta agree with them, but I appreciate you sitting through the entirety of the video. If you could do me just one more small favor before you go, if you could please like the video and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow.